I don't know if this kind of stuff is possible, but do like a podcast at the summit or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah. Oh, we totally
I
could. That would be
do.
so fun.
That'd be really fun. So think about that because that would be fun. Or like interview a couple different people over the lunch hour, or I don't know, something like that.
Oh,
'Cause
that
there's
would be
different
awesome.
people there. That would be fun.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
will
great
that
idea,
I
Brandie.
love that idea.
So
Yeah.
cutting edge. I just feel like that's
Fun.
very like only murders in the building type stuff.
Like I just thought about that, with all these
Just
creative
came up with that on my
ideas I
own.
have all the time, which said no one ever because Ryan has all the
I was
creative
gonna
ideas.
say, which one of you is the creative one?
100% Ryan.
Okay.
Apparently Brandie. It's Brandie today.
Like occasionally have one idea,
That's not true.
and Ryan
Who
receives it because I
True.
have so few of them.
who's the older?
I
Brandie.
do.
All right.
But not by much.
Are you the oldest of all 3?
No, I'm the middle,
Okay, so you're
So-
and you're the baby.
and
Yeah,
Ryan is the baby.
I'm very
So-
much the baby.
Interesting.
And we kind of work and function still like in sibling roles.
Okay.
Ryan says sometimes she's like, I don't even try to be in charge because if you're there, it's never going to happen. So she's like, it's not even.
What would happen? Let me tell you if I tried to be in charge. Brandie would eventually relinquish control.
Okay.
But there would be a fight like I'd have to fight for it. And
Okay.
Brandie would talk herself down and, do all the positive things that would say, okay, somebody else can have a good idea. And that's just not worth it to me. She's just better at it.
Okay, this is a serious question though. Like this is actually for the podcast.
Oh, I forgot. We're doing the podcast.
Yeah, no, because I'm really interested in that. Like I'm so interested in the sibling dynamic because I interviewed someone recently that she and her husband have a business together. And so I was talking to her about what that is like. Now they have to go home together at the end of the night.
Mhm.
What is your sibling like? Do you guys have fights when you're on jobs or do you just have like
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. That's hilarious. You're both right.
Yeah.
Dummy. Of
are-
course we do.
Yeah. I think the difference in Ryan and I with working with your family is how you resolve the fights, not necessarily that you have them. Because I think Ryan and I, in our family dynamic, we have an older sister, Shannon, and she is 4.5 years older than me, 7 years older than Ryan. And so even though Shannon and I, a lot of like our younger years, we kind of probably have some more similar experiences. Ryan and I from high school on, because we're only 2.5 years apart, we
Yeah.
shared friends. We both had like very similar hobbies. So we had a lot of things that were our shared experiences, probably more like our older years. And so we definitely fight or argue, but we also are like, we're sisters and we're best friends. And at the end of the day, there's nothing that we don't work out. There's nothing that we don't just realize our relationship trumps all of it. Now, the bottom line truth is we started this business and we're trying to build something and we both have to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's there, that is a very real dynamic, but we're never going to get to a place where we're like, well, we chose the business over being sisters like that.
Yeah.
It's just not an option. Ryan is really, really good at saying sorry. I'm not good at saying as good
Okay.
at saying sorry as she is, but I feel like I, in my own self-talk, am trying to address things a little bit differently because I can be really hardcore and Ryan's way more flexible and easygoing about things. And I'm kind of like, no, there is one way to do it. If we don't do it
But
that way, I will
That
die.
goes back to that birth order of my whole
Yes.
life. I've been told this is how it goes. This is what we do. So it's like, all right,
Well,
that
I
kind of
think it's fascinating because I don't know a lot of siblings that work together in this business. I mean, I know a couple of mothers and daughters, that type of thing, but
I've never had a job for anyone other than my family. This is only my second job. My first job, I worked for my parents.
that's awesome.
So
And
again, that baby kind of,
Right.
I've literally never had a job. So
Yeah,
Were your parents entrepreneurs?
our mom
my
was.
mom.
Fascinating. I love this.
So we both worked for our mom. And so we already know what it's like to have a family working dynamic. And so when we started Home+Sort, I think because that was so normal to us, because people say all the time, I could never work with my family. And our answer is, I could never work with someone who wasn't my family.
Yeah,
right.
honest, because I'm like, the enmeshment of our lives and the conversations we have to have, I feel like would be uncomfortable with a friend.
Okay.
I feel like talking money with one of your best friends, to me, that I couldn't figure that out.
And there's just such a trust. I say all the time, because I don't do any of our financial stuff, Brandie does. And I'm like, well, if Brandie takes all the money and uses it, she probably needs it for something. It's like
That's
if
really
she
nice.
steals it, if she robs us blind, oh well, you know.
That I think it's cool that you guys had you had a role model in your mom, and then you know how to do all of these things. Like you were born into it to some degree, but then you've been able to figure it out along the way. I just
Yeah.
think it's awesome.
Well, and
We and
our
our
mom
yeah.
started her business when I was in high school, so we watched it all. But what I was gonna tell you earlier is what's funny is our team, especially when we were first starting out, Brady and I would bicker or argue or something. And our team, at first they felt you could tell they were a little like, what? I don't know what to do. And now they just laugh at us. They're like, well, we've been a part of some doozies. And, and now
Yeah.
it's just, but they say the same thing, that it's amazing to watch us argue and then just move on. I mean, I think anyone that's passionate about what they do and feels strongly about their ideas and convictions, there's going to be some tension there.
Sure.
Yeah.
I used to have a sign that said, "I'm not bossy, I just have better ideas." And that sign's a little
That's
aggressive.
Brandy.
It's a little aggressive, right? But
That
I'm like, "No, I'm just passionate about the things that I believe in." There are some things that I believe very strongly in, and like you're never gonna get me off of that,
Yeah.
like believing that.
Yeah. Brandy and I talk about it often, that because all of us in our family are a little bit this way, that we are the people that walk into a room and see what could be improved. And it's a little bit of a hard place to be. It's not an arrogant thing. We don't go, oh, it could be improved and I would have done it so much better. But just like, oh, if we tweak this a little bit, this would
Yeah.
be next level. Or if we, that kind of a thing. So,
Well, and to be honest, we're hardest on ourselves.
Sure.
So
oh yeah.
we do that to ourselves 50 million times before we would try and do it to anyone else, And I think a big thing about being in a business relationship is
Love
that,
it.
like, I've realized areas where I fall short. And I know if I try and do some of these tweaks, it makes me a better business partner. And so, I am that sign, I just have better ideas. I know sometimes I also think I'm right most of the time.
Yeah.
And then Ryan and I'll have these discussions and she's trying to explain to me how I'm not right. And still I'm like, Ryan, nope, it's still coming up that I'm right. I still feel that way.
Yeah.
I know it sounds dumb, but like even some of those things, I like think through before a situation. Okay, I want to give in this situation because I'm trying to find all the things that I feel really strongly about and find some things that I feel less strongly about so I can give that up, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
like I try to do that more for Ryan. I don't know if she notices. I hope she does, but I really do, like in the last
That face says it all.
like couple months of my life, I'm like, okay, I don't
I missed that somehow. No, I'm kidding.
but it's like if you're a strong personality, you kind of feel strongly about everything. That's
Yeah.
probably a difficult relational dynamic for other people being in relationship with you. It's not a problem for me.
We say often to each other, I don't feel strongly, or I do feel strongly about this. And that's kind of, Brady was trying to change a way we do something in organizing. And I was like, I feel very strongly about this. But that's kind of our phrase of when they say that, we know, okay, there's going to be a compromise because that person feels strongly. So we're going to let them have it.
Yeah.
Do you feel strongly about specific organizing things, or is it business things? I have some organizing things that I'm like, I'll die on this hill. And then I have some things that I'm
Yes.
like, whatever. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We have that about everything.
Okay.
Now, not everything. And that was my point is I'm a kind of person, I'm like, I will die on this hill today. I'm going to die on that hill. I'm going to die on that one.
You have
And
a lot of
I'm
hills you're dying on.
trying to die on less hills because I think it's hard to be in a relationship with someone who will die on every hill.
Right.
And it goes back to the fact that I usually think my ideas are best and I usually think I'm right. It's a problem. Okay. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
You have good ideas. That's not on you.
Well, and Ryan's really flexible, like 99.9% of the time, unless she feels really strongly about something. So I know there's certain things neither one of us care about, but then there's other things we were like, there's one way to do this, and this is the way.
Yeah.
Not them.
About 95% of the time we align on what we really care about. Now, I think the difference, wow, we are really having a therapy session
I
here.
like it. I'm
I
into
think the
it.
difference is as an adult, I have learned that it's okay to change your mind. And I think when you're someone who's so principled like Brandy, it's really hard to go, "Oh, I just changed my opinion on that."
Yeah.
So,
If I say something, I will die by my word. And Ryan's like, it's okay, Brandy, to let it go. I'm like, I can't
yeah,
let it go. I said it. I said I would do that. I will go within an inch of my life to do what I said I would do.
Yeah.
And
she really will.
I don't know why I'm that way. I just
Do you find that more like since I became an organizer, there are some things that I'm much more flexible about because I think you're working with real people. But do you
Mhm.
have some things now that you're like, I actually believe this more strongly because I'm trying to help you live a better life? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I, I just think sometimes there are things you're like, I'm passionate about this because I'm trying to help you
yeah.
and I
Yeah,
want you to
so
listen to me, try to help you.
Yeah.
yeah. What's interesting is because of our work, I see changes not only in Brandy and I, but things that we are now, having our family adopt. For example, I just think as Americans, we have way too much stuff. I think we're
So much stuff.
consumers. I think it's a problem. The constant Costco's going up and people, two people shopping at Costco. I'm like, where's this even it's not good. There's so much expired and waste,
Yep.
and it's not because I don't like to buy things. I really do, but I just don't like the clutter. Obviously, I'm a
Yeah.
professional organizer, but we have found that we just are so cherishing memories over possessions. So this year for Christmas, we're all going on a trip instead of opening presents because Brandy and I are tired of the stuff
So
and
much
just
stuff.
buying just to buy. It's like,
Yeah.
let's this is going to be better for our families. We're going to make memories. We're going to get closer, all of these things. And so I think that, yes, if like I could help people see that. And in a little way, we are because we're making our family see it. And everyone's so excited about this trip. And and then we're not contributing to the clutter and just the needless buying for no
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I think that we just have more information at this point in our business journey than we had 5 years ago. Ryan and I were joking that, we started this and just thought we were going to beautify spaces. We didn't think through like we're changing people's lives with systems, we're changing people's lives with how they do things, and even how it would boil down to us. And that same thing, it's like my kids, their closets are a little bit more minimalistic because
Yep.
I don't understand why someone needs 20 pairs of the same type of tennis shoe. And we're in spaces where there is extreme opulence, extreme money is no issue. That's not everyone, but that is a large portion of our clients. And even then, sometimes I think I've actually probably gone the opposite way. It's like I loved all that at first because it was so fun. And I love beautiful clothes. I love designer things. I love all the good shoes and all that. But it's just so funny because I think we live our lives, whether we're on the job or planning or just supporting our team, where people are constantly trying to manage stuff and make a solution for stuff when probably the easiest solution is to ditch half of the stuff. But
Absolutely.
and so yeah, my kids are that way too, as I feel like it's like minimalist is a really great way to live until all of a sudden it's like the night before at midnight and you realize your kids don't have something because you
Right.
live a more pared down life. You're like, well, crap, what's open?
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
But I just think we didn't know that stuff when we started. I didn't know how much stuff affected people's lives and how it affected their mental health and their just all of it, you know?
I was definitely unprepared for the amount of mental health stuff that we deal with.
Yeah.
And just even no matter what house you're in, even if you're in a house where all they want to do is just they want you to make it beautiful, there's always something going on,
Yeah.
right? I say it's 90% therapy and 10% putting things in bags. Like it
Totally.
really is just a lot of talking about consumption. And my mom never let me buy things. So now I buy too many
Yep.
things, or it's just all of that stuff. It's a lot.
Yes. And we did
Yeah.
not see that coming because we found ourselves in some situations where that was happening. And I was like, wait, why is this person digging through the garbage? And we just had no idea. I was like, oh, I didn't realize there was inner workings
Yeah.
attached to this stuff.
Yeah.
And not everybody's that way, but we
Not
have
everybody.
experienced it. Things we joke all the time that everybody are liars because they're like, do what you want. We don't care. We don't.
We don't I don't have a lot of stuff. I
Yeah.
think it'll take you like 2 hours.
That's my favorite. I
Yeah.
always so I train organizers, like, I teach them how to organize now, and one of the things that I tell them is, you can't believe anyone, and it's I mean that the nicest way. Like, if someone comes to you and says, "I don't have very much stuff, it won't take very long," they might be on the hoarding spectrum, and if someone comes to you and says, "I think I might be a hoarder," they're actually probably a minimalist.
Yeah,
Like,
a
it's
100%. 100%.
opposite.
Yes, you are true.
One of the things that I talk to organizers a lot about is I want you to dream big. And it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be huge, right? Dreaming big for you could be I want to have a team of 2 people, or
Yep.
it could be I want to start this business as a side hustle. You guys have created some amazing things and you have such a successful business. When you started out, did you have these dreams or did it just kind of evolve?
We didn't set out with like, this is our first year goal. This is our second, this is how we're going to scale. No, we did not.
Yeah.
We were very much just, we're like, "Yeah, I don't know, let's throw this at the wall and see if it sticks," kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like, let's see if
Yeah.
we can do something with this. So, no, I would love to tell you we had a solid plan. We didn't.
I
And
actually like it better that you didn't have a plan. I legit, like, I like the idea of you just saw what happened and it just started growing. I think that's awesome. I just didn't know if you guys said, "We wanna organize houses, but we also want to do all these other things."
No, 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 and we've changed year 2 or year 3, we did business coaching and we're like, "Nope, that is not what we wanna do." I think that's a really special person like you that can do that and really walk people through. I did not like that personally, not that I loved the people, but kind of anyways, that didn't work. So we've changed. It's like, we've tried this, we've tried that. A nice thing about your business getting older is you really can go, "Okay, we know what we're really good at now, and we have a laser focus on these things. These are our biggest money makers. We're gonna focus on that." We do very strategic, like, we have another partnership thing coming out, that we'll announce at the summit, and so we do some very strategic things, but I feel like there was, like, 2 years in there, we're doing everything to try and figure out what's additional sources of revenue and what are we really passionate about and what do people wanna hear about, and so we stopped all of that and have really focused in on organizing in a couple brand partnerships.
I think too, probably one of our greatest things about us, which out of balance can probably become a not great thing about us, is like what Ryan said. We're just willing to throw things at the wall. It's like, yeah, let's try this and see if we like it and see if it works. We don't always have a ton of strategy behind that, which sometimes we're like, maybe we should actually give some of these things more thought before we do them. But Ryan is a genuine, true creative. And so I think new ideas and things like that is fuel to her.
Mhm.
I am far more logistical, and so I think I could probably do the same thing until I die, and that would work for me. The marriage of those 2 things together definitely keeps it fresh and
Yeah.
there's always something new happening, but yeah, I think when we first started, we knew we wanted to build the business. To be honest, we didn't even really know how. I genuinely I think there's the type of personality that they just won't start anything till it's perfect. I would say we're the opposite. Like we get things dialed in, but then we just go for it and figure it out as we go along,
Yeah.
which we just learned a lot. Like, had we waited for a perfect scenario, I don't know that there ever would have been one or that we would have even had the knowledge to create one. We just didn't know what we were doing, but we said all the time, we can outwork anyone. And we would probably far more have workaholic tendencies than I don't know what the opposite of that is, whatever the opposite is. And so I'm always impressed by people that have these great plans because that's just not exactly how we work.
Well,
And
and
it's
would have probably saved us a bunch of time if we had a great
Sure.
plan.
probably a lot of money, but
Yeah.
um, it's interesting too because I'm sure with coaching so many people or knowing so many people on the podcast, you realize certain organizers, they're like a real type A personality in the fact that they've got their plan, they've got their spreadsheet, they've got their Excel documents. We have those elements to us, but to be honest, we are way more fly by the seat of your pants party. Let's like jack this thing up and do something big than we are the other. And so I laugh because sometimes I feel like we fit in this industry. And then other ways I'm like, oh gosh, we're not like that at all.
So we're going to be best friends because that's exactly how I am. I'm like, I will figure it out. And I might make a 5-minute podcast episode that's just the last 4 minutes of what we've said, because I do think it's really important. I want everybody to really listen to. It's totally great. And a lot of organizers love to have plans and we love to think about things. But you have got to, at some point, let go of those plans and just say what you said earlier. What is the worst that can happen? And we
Yeah.
sometimes there are so many people that tend to overthink everything. And if you guys are listening to only just the tiniest little part of this, please listen to this very successful organizing business has very little actual planning that they do. They figure things out and look what happens. And if you guys had waited, it's that concept of opportunity cost. You guys might have waited 4 years and you never would have done it ever because
Yeah.
you were trying to do so many spreadsheets and so many plans. And
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful to let go of a little bit of that and just see what happens.
And to just encourage someone really quickly, which this is what I love about having a business partner, is that when you're down or when you think you've failed, you need someone, you need like your organizing bestie. Ryan and I have each other. We have other people in the industry that we're super close with that you're like, it's okay. Get back up and keep going. We've done a lot of things that have not panned out.
We've
Just
taken a lot of risks that
yeah.
have cost us. And guess what? You survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You
like
know?
we laugh. I mean, we may have like a teary moment of wow, that didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, but then you just keep going. You know what I mean? And so it's like and I think when you have no community or you have no one in your corner, I actually know a lot of people in this industry just because of doing the summit and the people that we know and
Yeah.
doing some coaching that actually have started businesses. In the time that we've started, they have started and stopped. Like they just aren't organizers anymore, which, you know, everyone has their plethora of reasons, but I wonder how many of those people they didn't
Yeah.
maybe have anyone pushing them to keep
Well,
going or
and everyone says this, but it is true. You cannot judge someone just off of social media. I know. I
Amen.
feel like you're saying really nice things about us, and I'm like, gosh, are we that successful? I don't feel that successful, but
yeah,
but you get on there and you put your best foot forward and talk about all the big things. You're not like, well, that client called and wanted a refund.
Yeah.
Not that anyone actually ever has wanted a refund, but you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that goes in to running a business that is, tricky, and we don't put that on social media, and I get it. I know why we don't, but you just can't judge someone off social media. I remember when everybody in the organizing community was coming out with a book and I'm like, "Well, we're losers because we don't have a
We don't
book.
have a book. Right.
Apparently this is what
Right.
you have to do. You have to have a book." And Brandy's like, "No, we don't. That's not our thing. We're doing other things." And so all that to say, like, really remind yourself, you just cannot compare social media. It is not an apples to apples kind of a thing. There's someone that came to us to speak at the summit, and they have this crazy business, and their social media is not big at all.
Yeah.
But they've got bridges and franchises, and they're occupying all these things. I'm like, good Lord. So
One of the most popular episodes we had of the podcast was one where I basically told people you can just quit social media. Like you don't have to if your goal is in-home organizing and that's what you want, you do not have to do social media. And I'm so appreciative that you just said that because
yeah.
your social media is huge. And I think people probably look at that and go, oh, they have every single thing figured out.
but I
And
I want you to know our social media hasn't grown in years.
okay, interesting.
It actually decreased last month.
No, it grows, but then we don't grow more than we lose because we just lose. It's
Interesting. Oh, that's
yeah,
And
fascinating.
that is almost every large organizer out there.
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
It's the same thing.
I'm
yeah,
glad
'cause
we're
we
having
all
this
talk about it.
conversation.
Yeah,
Because I think there are so many people that put so much pressure on themselves and they say, I have to do, 7 reels a day and I have to do all this. And it's like, no, you don't have to do all these things. And then also, what I see a lot is exactly what you said, which is people compare themselves. And I had an organizer the other day that said, well, there's an organizer in my city and she's doing so much stuff. And I'm like, how do you know that? She's like, well, her social. I'm
Exactly.
like, that could be pictures of her own house. It could be pictures of a house she did 3 years
ah,
ago and she's done one house. You don't know what's
Yeah.
actually going on.
yeah.
So,
We
Ryan
did
and
that.
I
All of our houses at the beginning were our own houses.
Yeah,
We go do
100%.
someone's house for free because we needed content. And there's no shame in that. I'm like, hey,
Nope.
good for us. We did it. But it's a marketing strategy. You're
Yes.
on there trying to get work. So
Yes.
take
well,
it for what it is.
and one thing Ryan and I say all the time, and we never set out for it to be this way, we get a ton of work off of social media.
Yeah.
And so we just don't have the luxury of throwing our phone in the ocean
For
because
sure.
we get, and then, we've got to deal with them design. We have something else coming out. Well, then they all care about your number. So it's
Sure.
us. Sometimes I'm like this, it's a battle that you sometimes feel like you can't win. To be honest, for a long time, we felt like we won it, but they change everything every 5 minutes.
Yes.
And it's very hard unless you're a famous person for
When the getting was good, it was great. We were growing 1,000 plus a day.
Yeah.
Uh, those were nice times, and those times are gone.
Another thing that I just want to remind everyone is you have a business model that includes not only in-home organizing, but you have a business model that transcends geography. So you
Yeah.
need social media because your people are everywhere. But
Yeah.
again, if you are just trying to grow an in-person local business, you do
Yeah.
not have to devote your
Yeah.
there are so many more things you can
Totally.
be spending your time
Yes.
on.
Use it as your portfolio. That's what I say
Yeah.
to people. Hey, you want to know what we do? Send a client there and you can make it pretty. You can post the pictures, but send it and have that be your portfolio. You don't need 10,000 followers to show someone you are good at what you do.
No,
Yeah.
you absolutely do not.
Totally.